Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Retail Archaeology. Today we'll be taking a look at the El-Con Mall, or at least what's left of it. You see, unfortunately this is a dead mall that we missed. It's been torn down and actually renamed the El-Con Center. Now here's some pictures of what the El-Con Mall looked like before it was mostly demolished. These pictures come from labelscar.com. And as you can see, this was a pretty cool looking mall inside, even though it was dead. It was actually built in 1960 and was the first mall in Tucson, Arizona. Unfortunately, sometime around 2015, most of the mall was demolished and this was changed over to an open air mall. The only thing that's left is this Jcpenney, which was added to the El-Con Mall in 1971, and a little bit of the mall that was attached to this. And we'll get a better look at all of that later on in the video. Now here's a map of what the El-Con Mall looked like in 1990 when it was intact. And this is what it looks like today on the right. You can see it's, like I said, an open air mall with the only thing originally left standing is the Jcpenney, which you can see there, and everything else is just big box stores and stuff not nearly as interesting as a mall that was built in 1960, unfortunately. Even though most of the mall is gone, we still felt it was important to document what was left. For example, that really cool sign at the beginning, and also this 1970s era Jcpenney. With everything else around it looking so much newer, who knows how long until this building's knocked down and replaced with something newer. Now, what we're looking at here was the interior entrance into the Pennies. Where I'm standing, there actually used to be mall. And you can see the scar where they literally cut the mall away from the building. But now let's take a look at the inside of the Jcpenney's. This Penny's still has a salon, and I love that mirrored wall around the entrance of it. This is a two-story Jcpenney, but unlike a lot of them, it's a floor level and then a basement level. I've not actually been in a Jcpenney in that configuration before. Here we can see the appliance section that big banner hanging on the store is advertising. And one of the things I noticed about this Penny's and that I liked were those air diffusers on the ceiling. They're like miniature versions of those air diffusers that you see in some Kmart's. Now we're down in the basement level, and this was interesting. I'm not a huge fan of basements in department stores. Feels kind of claustrophobic down here. I don't know why, but I'd rather be up on a second floor than down in a basement. Everything in this Penny's was pretty old looking. The carpet, the tiles. It doesn't look like it's been updated in a long time, and everything was looking kind of tired. All of the other large big box stores that are now in the El-Con Center are much nicer and newer looking than this, so like I mentioned earlier, it wouldn't surprise me if eventually this building was torn down and maybe even they build a new Jcpenney here. You know, I don't know, maybe this store actually does well and warrants building a new building, but again, we wanted to make sure and capture all this before it was gone completely, because this is the last little bit of the El-Con Mall that's left, and it was a pretty cool mall. Like I said, it was built in 1960. It was the first mall in Tucson, and it was next door to a relatively historic hotel, the El Conquistador Hotel, thus the name El-Con Mall. Unfortunately, that hotel has long since been demolished as well. It's really sad that we're losing a lot of history like this. So, you know, if you've got old malls like this near you, and you have the ability to document them, I would recommend doing it because, again, none of us can get to all of these malls. Now that we've taken a little bit of a look at the inside of this old Jcpenney, let's go back to exploring the outside of what's left of the Elkhorn Mall. The only other remnant of the Elkhorn Mall are suites 1 through 6, which you can see marked on the map here, and those have been converted to the mall's operations and management office. But while we were looking around there, we found some really interesting stuff. Here's the backside of the Jcpenney, and this is probably the ugliest side. It's not open to the public. That door there, you can't actually go through it. It's locked on the outside, and then also the doors going into the inside are locked. But there's like this torn up mesh along the fence, and it's just pretty ugly looking, to be honest with you. I wonder what all this used to be back here. You can see the doors to the inside of the pennies there, but those doors are locked, even on the inside. We started approaching them while we were in there, and an employee ran over to let us know that we couldn't go through those doors. They were locked. Now here's the management and operations offices, but there's that little corridor down there to the left. We'll take a closer look at that in a second because there was some really interesting stuff down there. It became pretty clear pretty quick that this is an area that not a lot of people go and haven't been in a long time. Back here. That's a wasp's nest. Yep. Oh my god, there's so many wasp's nests up here. Okay. Let's get the out of here.
Yep, there's one up there.
Yep, and we're out.
And we're follow us.
Bye.
Good.
Here's a closer look into the operations offices. I could hear some people further down in there, security guards I believe, so I didn't want to duck too much further in, but this was pretty cool to capture. I was also pretty happy to capture that mid-90s graffiti. If that was you that left that graffiti, know that it's been immortalized in my video. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this tour of what's left of the Elkhorn Mall. Thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Thanks for checking out another one of my Dead Mall videos. If you enjoyed this one, why don't you watch one of these other videos here? And also make sure to follow us at the social media links down below because that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the channel. And as always, thanks for watching.